Hello survivors, this is Raphael, the creative director on The Long Dark. Thanks for joining me for today's update video. Today we're launching the fourth part of Tales from the Far Territory, our paid expansion to The Long Dark's survival mode. Part 4 is called Buried Echoes, which is also the name of the second tale, referring to the mysterious continuation of Signal Void from Part 2. In this video, I'll be walking you through all the new features and content we've added in Buried Echoes, as well as some free additions to the base survival mode, which also go live in today's update. The marquee addition in Buried Echoes is a new region for the Far Territory, called the Zone of Contamination. Accessed by road from Transfer Pass, the Zone of Contamination is a polluted wasteland, the site of the abandoned Langston mine. Your exploration of the Zone of Contamination will be hindered by toxic pools, chemicals, and industrial poisons left over from the abandonment of the mining operation, as well as the poor wolves themselves poisoned and left behind, hungry and extra dangerous. If you travel through these toxic hazards unprotected, you'll gradually build up a chemical poisoning affliction, so be careful. The corrosive hazards are also very hard on your footwear, so your best hope is to avoid moving through them if you can. This is the most built-up region we have in the Long Dark, with a large complex of interconnected mine buildings, housing for workers, and abandoned equipment. We think it has a great overall vibe and evokes the atmosphere of some of my favorite games, like Fallout and Stalker, beautiful but deadly, haunted by the stories of those left behind, and full of nooks and crannies just waiting to be discovered. We hope you enjoy exploring the zone. Fortunately, within the ruins of the Langston mine, a sprawling complex of industrial structures, abandoned equipment, an open pit, and an extensive maze of tunnels buried deep under the mountain, you'll find a collection of safety equipment that can really help you out. The respirator will protect you from pockets of toxic gas you'll encounter underground and on the surface. Just keep an eye open for the consumable canisters, as without them the respirator can't do much for you. There's also protective clothing, a miner's coat, pants, chemical-resistant boots, and a hard hat. Each on their own provides a different amount of protection against physical damage, wind, and moisture. As always, you'll trade these capabilities off against weight and other statistics. Take whatever you feel can be most useful. The Zone of Contamination isn't just home to toxic chemicals and poison wolves. Continuing the story introduced in Signal Void, follow the clues deep into the Zone of Contamination and uncover the next layer of the mystery of Rudiger, the security chief, and the strange events hinted at in the last tale. You'll journey throughout the zone looking for answers, and eventually, you'll find yourself in the heart of the mountain, trying to piece together the truth behind what happened here years ago. Buried Echoes hints at the Far Territory's dark past, and plays with a weird and mysterious tone of stories left untold, forgotten by history and with the appearance of the Aurora. You may be the last witness to these events. Playing through Buried Echoes will take you about 5 hours, and you'll need to have first finished Signal Void. So this is a pretty significant journey into mystery and into the past. We hope you dig in and enjoy the adventure. And don't worry, you can play Buried Echoes using Interloper Experience Mode if you really like to suffer. We've added a new gameplay system to your survival toolbox, the Trava. Crafted from saplings, deerskin, and other materials, the Trava is a simple but robust tool for carrying large amounts of items across vast distances. With about double the capacity of your backpack, you can load the Trava up with supplies, gear, meat, and fish, whatever you like, provided you don't mind the process of painstakingly dragging it with you across the wintry landscapes of Great Bear Island. When pulling the Trava, your movement is limited to a walk, and you sacrifice some responsiveness, so keep your eyes and ears open for wildlife that might be attracted to whatever it is you're dragging along with you. You might have to drop the Trava quickly to deal with whatever threat comes along. And remember, the more you load onto the Trava, the slower you'll have to travel. And of course, nothing can be easy in the Long Dark. The Trava can't go everywhere you can go. You'll have to be careful on steep slopes, and passing through interior transition zones like mines or climbing up ropes will require dumping the gear and collapsing the Trava to carry it with you, then recovering your items afterwards to continue your journey. This can create multiple trips and a lot of back and forth, so plan your route well and balance the pros and cons of using the Trava. On the whole, considering the characteristic trade-offs that you all know and love, we think the Trava gives you a useful tool when creating new supply caches, safe houses, or just moving house to new regions. Have fun with it. We've added a new risk to your long-term survival, Scurvy. Nutrition has never been a big focus for the food and survival systems in the Long Dark, but scurvy is such a big part of the romance of long-term survival in frozen conditions, so we wanted to bring it into our survival sandbox. We also thought it'd be interesting to introduce a new challenge to those of our players who enjoy really long-term survival and are looking for new risks to add challenge to their experience. How it works is fairly simple. Certain foods have vitamin C. If you don't eat enough of them over time, you begin to accumulate scurvy risk. Once you've crossed a threshold, that risk becomes scurvy. Scurvy is a tough affliction to deal with and introduces a series of long-term effects you'll struggle to overcome, so be careful. Scurvy isn't something you'll worry much about in the early game, but if you're one of those survivors who routinely finds themselves in games that run in the hundreds of days, you'll want to plan for scurvy. Currently, scurvy is disabled by default in Pilgrim, but affects Voyageur, Stalker, and Interloper experiences with tuning to suit. Because we know dealing with scurvy might not be to everyone's taste, we may include an option to disable it in the custom settings in a future update. But for now, we hope you'll try it out and see what you think. I'm not sure I can really tell you to enjoy scurvy, but hopefully you'll find it adds something new and interesting to your survival experience. Finally, what greater comfort in the frigid wasteland of the Canadian North than to be able to carry a flask of warm liquids with you? We've added the Insulated Flask to the game. Coming in a variety of colors and patterns, you can load multiple units of warm drinks like soups, coffee, teas, and so on into the flask and take it with you on your next day of trekking through the snowy forests of Great Bear Island. This means that if you time things well, you can stack multiple warmth buffs and keep hypothermia or frostbite at bay. Keep in mind that you can't mix things in one flask, so if you want to carry multiple and different warm fluids, you'll need to find and carry multiple flasks. Keep an eye out for the rare Jackrabbit Transport Flask. Now, all the stuff I've just shown you is really great, but the thing I'm truly the most excited about, to be honest, is something I've been wanting to see in the game for years. And because of a bunch of work the team has done to improve memory management and how we stream assets into the game, we've become able to finally visualize hand coverings. No more bare hands as you struggle to survive in the Long Dark. So now when you wear hand coverings, you'll see that choice reflected whenever you see first-person actions in the game. Switch to the hand coverings and the result is visible in the game. This includes the lower sleeve of whatever you're wearing on your arms as well. Seems like a small thing, but it was tough to pull off, and I'm happy we're finally able to make it happen for you. We're also working through an internal list of first-person interactions we've always wanted to improve in the game to heighten the sense of immersion in the Long Dark, even beyond what players already can feel. With this update, we've added new harvesting animations to the game that reflect the tool you are using to harvest and the type of carcass you are harvesting. We feel that these types of improvements can really enhance your sense of connection to the world of the Long Dark and therefore also your sense of vulnerability as a survivor. We hope this just strengthens your feeling of being in the world and brings you a little closer to the harrowing survival experience we strive to give you. So that pretty much summarizes everything added to Tales in Part 4, and also the free additions to the base survival game with today's update. We'll be monitoring your feedback and any issues you report to us through our support portal, which is linked in the description below. And the team will do their best to hotfix any critical issues before we close the studio for our annual winter holiday. This is an important opportunity for the team to rest up and spend time with loved ones in preparation for next year. I say this every year, and it always proves to be true. Next year will be the biggest one for Hinterland to date. I want to take a moment to thank you for your support this year. I know that our release cadence for Tales didn't end up being as frequent as we had hoped, and it means a lot to me that most of you have been really understanding about this and have given us the time and space we needed to get Part 4 out to you with a significant set of features and content. I'll be sharing one more dev diary later in December before we take off for holidays. It'll be a very small tease for Episode 5, which will be shipping in 2024. Beyond that, on behalf of the entire team at Hinterland, we hope you enjoyed today's update and have a wonderful winter holiday season. All the best to you and yours, and see you again in 2024. Now get out there and enjoy the quiet apocalypse we've created for you.